Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something pretty much every single family navigates at some point, and that is the everyday habits that shape our children's lives. Based on our source text, we're going to explore 10 common parenting mistakes. But more importantly, we're focusing on what to do instead. So, let's figure out how we can shift our mindset from reactive parenting to proactive parenting together.
Look, right off the bat, let's just get this out there. No parent is perfect. Period. We all make mistakes. So before we even get into the nuts and bolts of what we might be doing wrong, let's take a collective deep breath. Seriously, this explainer is absolutely not about judgment. It is entirely about growth. Every single family faces challenges, and honestly, the fact that you're here looking to learn alongside us is what really matters.
Okay, let's dive into this and look at our roadmap for today. We're going to cover 5 major behavioral shifts. Number 1, rethinking how we communicate. 2, setting healthy expectations. 3, modeling and meaningful connection. 4, the unconditional love foundation. And finally, 5, embracing the learning curve.
All right, starting with Section 1, rethinking how we communicate, with a focus on the words we use. In this area, we're addressing 3 major mistakes outlined in our source text: yelling, comparing, and ignoring our kids' feelings. Now, you know how easy it is to lose your cool, right? Like when their shoes still aren't on 5 whole minutes after you ask them. Yelling might stop the behavior in that exact moment, sure, but it comes at a super steep cost. It creates fear, anxiety, resentment. Actually, it pretty much completely shuts down open communication. Speaking firmly is the alternative here. This approach actually builds respect and guides your child to genuinely understand why their behavior was inappropriate in the first place, fostering a much safer emotional environment.
So what's the game plan when that wave of frustration hits? First, you've got to stay as calm as possible before you even respond. Take a beat. Second, use that firm but respectful tone. Third, help them understand the why behind the rule. And fourth, and this one is huge, honestly, praise positive behavior way more often than you criticize the negative. It's really about proactively shifting the balance before things escalate.
Okay, listen to these for a second. Why can't you be like your sister? Or, stop crying, it's not a big deal. Our source identifies phrases exactly like these as highly damaging. Comparing a child to someone else severely damages their self-esteem and creates this really toxic, unhealthy competition. Meanwhile, dismissing their emotions, like telling them to stop crying over something, makes them feel completely misunderstood and causes deep feelings of shame.
So let's flip the script and build better communication habits. Instead of comparing, we can zoom in on their individual strengths and celebrate their personal progress. Instead of dismissing them, we listen carefully, we acknowledge their feelings, even if we totally disagree with the behavior they're displaying, and we actively teach them healthy ways to express those emotions. It's all about validation and growth here.
Which really brings us to a critical question. Are we guiding our children, or are we just controlling them? It's a powerful thought, isn't it? And it beautifully bridges the gap between how we talk to our kids and how we establish the actual rules of the house.
Let's move on to Section 2, setting healthy expectations, specifically looking at the boundaries we set.
Let's bring together the whole idea of discipline, rules, and expectations. When rules constantly change from day to day, or when we rely heavily on constant criticism and harsh punishment, it just creates a chaotic environment. It confuses children, and it leaves them feeling incredibly discouraged. But on the flip side of that, predictable boundaries and logical consequences literally make children feel safe. When they know exactly what to expect, they're so much more encouraged to actually take responsibility for their own actions.
To actually make this work, we need to establish crystal clear household rules and make sure all caregivers are on the exact same page. Plus, we've got to stop expecting perfection. Expecting perfection just creates intense anxiety and a massive fear of failure for them. Instead, praise the effort, praise the persistence, praise the improvement. We need to treat mistakes like the learning opportunities they are and remind our kids that nobody, not even us, is perfect.
Now, as parents, it is incredibly natural to want to swoop in and protect our kids from every little struggle. We all do it. But constantly rescuing them actually stunts their independence. Solving every single problem for them prevents them from developing vital problem-solving skills of their own. Instead, guiding them to find their own solutions encourages critical thinking and lets them learn from those safe, age-appropriate mistakes.
Which kind of leads us to ask, what are our children actually learning from us? And I don't just mean from our rules, but from our day-to-day presence.
That brings us to Section 3, modeling and meaningful connection. It's all about the example we set.
Life gets crazy busy, we all know that, and it's super easy for packed schedules to unintentionally weaken our family relationships. But the fix is surprisingly simple. Just 15 to 20 minutes of daily, one-on-one time together makes a massive difference. Read a book, play a game, cook dinner, or literally just sit and talk. But here's the key, and honestly, it's a tough one for all of us. Put away the phones. Undistracted time is vital, because at the end of the day, children value your focused attention way more than any expensive toy or gift.
And this spills right over into our own behavior. Children actually learn far less from what we say and so much more from what we do. They are constantly watching how we manage our own emotions. If we want them to be respectful, patient, and honest, well, we have to demonstrate those traits ourselves. And perhaps most importantly, we have to model accountability by genuinely apologizing to them when we mess up.
All right, Section 4, the Unconditional Love Foundation. This is about separating behavior from worth.
This one is absolutely crucial. One of the biggest mistakes we can make is simply forgetting to make our unconditional love obvious. Children need to know, without a shadow of a doubt, that they are loved regardless of their grades, regardless of their behavior, and regardless of their achievements. Feeling deeply and truly accepted is what ultimately builds a child's emotional security and their long-term resilience for the real world.
So how do we make sure they know this? Well, it's a 3-step framework. First, just say "I love you" often. Second, give out hugs and positive attention freely. And third, this is the real magic key right here. Correct their behavior while simultaneously reassuring them that your love never, ever changes. You absolutely have to separate the child's inherent worth from their temporary mistakes.
And that brings us to our final section, Section 5, Embracing the Learning Curve. Let's get into some final thoughts.
I really want to leave you with a strong sense of encouragement today. The path forward doesn't require flawless execution. Like we said at the start, perfection isn't the goal. Every family has hard days. What really matters is your willingness to just keep learning and growing. By making small, consistent behavioral shifts in how you communicate, how you set those boundaries, and how you show love, you're going to create a lasting, profoundly positive impact on your child's confidence, their emotional well-being, and their future success.
So I'll leave you with this. What small, consistent change are you going to make today? Maybe it's just putting the phone in another room for 15 minutes. Or maybe it's taking a deep breath instead of yelling when things get chaotic. Whatever it is, you have the tools to do it. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. And hey, here's to growing together on this wild parenting journey.